question. Once we set the goal and we strengthen our commitment, we must build our belief. Now, it's not just any belief. It is a belief dominating cognitive psychology called self-efficacy, based on the research by Dr. Bandura at Stanford. Self-efficacy, the simple definition, so you don't even have to worry about the word, but it has a very simple definition that you see on page 119. And that is, do you believe that you can take the steps to reach your goal? That is the simple and technical definition of self-efficacy. Do you believe you can take the steps to reach your goal? It's different than self-esteem, which is about, I like myself. This is about self-efficacy. Do I believe I can take the steps to reach my goal? Did any of you see the movie, What About Bob? What was the psychiatrist's name of his book? What was the name of his book? Dreyfuss's book in that movie. It was called Baby Steps. You know what he's really talking about? That's right, self-efficacy. Because remember when he's on the bus? Okay, I'm on the bus. One foot in front of the other. I'm on the bus. I'm walking down the aisle on the bus. Those are baby steps strengthening his belief he could reach his goal. So, very, very critical for us to build this belief. Now, has it ever happened to you? You can probably prove this to yourself. I want you to think about this. When last time you had a real desire to reach a goal, so you set the goal, you got fired up, has it ever happened to you that as you start moving towards the goal, there's a little voice that's like, I'm not quite sure what to do next, or what's that? Has that ever happened to you? Yeah, that's this belief echoing in the background of your brain. Right? So that's this belief. Your self-esteem is probably quite intact, but it's like, I'm not sure what to do next, what steps to take. That's this. So, what can we do to raise it, to make sure you've set a goal, you're committed to it? Now, what action steps or how do you strengthen, build that belief? Well, there's two ways, according to Dr. Bandura's research. One is models. Now, when you hear that term, what does a model mean to you? What comes to mind when I say models? Okay, people who can teach us. Who else? Systems. Who else? What else? Probably about someone who has done this before. We call them coaches, models, mentors, even resources. So who can show us or what can show us the steps to reach our goal? That's models. This is one of the many reasons I love NSA, because models get up here and they teach us. They say, hey, here's what worked for me, or here's the research on this, and they teach us the steps. And then we must go forth and, with mastery, means practice those steps. Mastery is about practice. And we all know that practice doesn't make perfect. Progressive practice makes perfect. Progressive practice makes perfect. So mastery is about learning from some experts. We are experts who speak, and listening to what they tell us, and we go forth and practice those steps. It's as simple and profound as that. Now, let me tell you how I approached this when I first entered the speaking business. When I first entered the speaking business, I learned from a model who basically said, Dave, listen, this is a tough business. And I've heard you speak. You're going to have a tough time for a while. I liked his candor. And he then said this. He said, you know, the way to really make it in this business is to have some products, get some passive income going. So I said, you know what? That sounds good to me. He said, what could you come up with that you think the market would buy so you could get this income as you got your speaking career going? I said, well, I have an idea to build a CD-ROM that automates marketing for a particular aspect of healthcare. He said, oh, that sounds real good. You know how to do it? I said, I'm not sure. He said, here's some resources, gave me some ideas. And lo and behold, I came up with a CD-ROM called Strategy, automating marketing for a particular area of healthcare. And that was on the market within 2 years. And I had ambitious, folks, I'm here to tell you, I had some ambitious goals when I first got into the business. And I'll stand here before you and say it was within 2 years to be in 6 figures. And I want you to know I was, at the end of 2 years, in 6 figures, but in debt. And then the next year, I doubled it, the debt. No, actually, within 2 years, I was $100,000 in debt. Burned through $50,000 cash, $50,000 in credit card debt, and what am I doing? Sending you a mixed message here? Here's my question for you. What went wrong? What happened? Okay, maybe the baby steps. Yeah, real close right here. Let's give it up for Sharon. I'll tell you what she just said. Excellent. She said you didn't master the model. Very close, because you know what I did? I picked the wrong model. Now, I don't blame this individual. I, of my own free will, chose to follow him and his advice. However, it does offer us a bit of caution, doesn't it? What's the lesson learned here, do you think? For me and perhaps for you. Choose the right model. And upon what criteria do we base that decision? Yeah, a lot of us do their success, their emotion. I would submit to you that one of the best criteria you can use for following somebody is to answer a question that my boss at UCLA, world-famous scientist, said. He invented a whole technology. You all heard of MRI and CT, of course, right? The next generation is PET, positron emission tomography. My boss at UCLA invented it. Our institute was dedicated to it. He is brilliant. He used to ask me this question all the time. I offer it to you when you're considering a model. When someone tells you something and their models, ask either directly or at least in your head, really? And how do you know that? How do you know that? It's one of the most fundamental, profound questions we can ask. I don't think in this business we ask it enough. We follow because it's been successful for them. They're sharing their experience. And I would submit to you that that may not be predictive in your life. The essence of science is prediction. So I tend to be attracted to those individuals who have at least looked at the research literature on a topic because it offers me, because of my science background, offers me some security. And I failed to follow my own advice here, and it cost me dearly. I share the story because I don't want it to happen to you. So pick the right model.